Good morning, David. How are you?
I am well. Good morning, John. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning.
Let's talk about DACA.
DACA was a program that was introduced through the Obama administration, and through the cruelty of the current administration, the Trump administration, they tried to shut down DACA. And they were successful in terms of not allowing first-time applicants to apply. But the courts consistently held that the DACA recipients who had filed prior to the Trump administration, or even at the beginning of the Trump administration, that they were able to revalidate or renew their DACA status. Now, just last week, a judge delivered a final blow to the Trump administration and ordered that the Trump administration must accept and process new DACA applications. So, as of right now, the law of the land is that USCIS must accept these applications, but individuals must meet the following criteria for DACA. Okay, so would you like me to go through those, John?
Oh, yeah, please.
All right. So you must be under 31 years of age as of June 15, 2012. But if you are older than 31 today, that's fine. It's just so long as you were under 31 as of June 15, 2012. You must have come to the United States under the age of 16. You must have continuously resided in the United States from June 15, 2007 through today. You have to have entered the United States either without inspection, meaning snuck in, or you fell out of lawful visa status before June 15, 2012. And that's very important because sometimes we have students who are here lawfully maintaining their status, and they'll call me and they'll say, hey, Haghighi, can I apply for DACA? And I have to look, or any lawyer has to look to make sure that they were out of status before June 15, 2012. Then the next thing that they need to show is that you were physically present in the United States on June 15, 2012. Now that we're in 2020, it makes it a little bit harder to go back approximately 8.5 years and prove that you were in the United States on that particular date. But with the invent of technology, banks, ATMs, there are ways to show that you were in fact here in the United States. You also need to show that either you're currently in school, have graduated from high school, or have obtained a GED, or have been honorably discharged from any of the armed forces. You got to show good moral character, have not been convicted of a felony offense, a significant misdemeanor, or more than 3 misdemeanors of any kind. Now, again, I get phone calls regarding the misdemeanors. Hey, I've had a traffic violation. Is that going to preclude me from getting DACA? No, it's not. Traffic violations generally are not considered misdemeanors. It's got to be something more than just a traffic violation. A good example would be a DUI. A DUI could potentially prevent you from getting DACA. And you've got to show that you don't pose a threat to national security or public safety. And those are really the crux of, or the qualifications that are needed to be present to merit a successful application to be approved for DACA. And with DACA, you are shielded from removal. So this is primarily was aimed for the children who came here and remained here in the United States.
So there's a new ruling, right, from the court. Can you tell me more about that?
Sure. Well, the new ruling is that the Trump administration can't stop accepting new applications. So up until today, for the last few years, Trump had essentially stated that he wants to end this program, that he doesn't believe that the DACA, to make his base, to rile his base and keep them happy, he wanted to preclude these individuals who have been here since childhood, who have gone to school here, who are legally employed here. He wanted to take away the protections from them. And it's about 750,000 people. And essentially, the courts have said in their ruling that this was not a lawful act on his part, that the DACA program was not closed appropriately, that Chad Wolf, who is the director, was not acting in an official capacity, and that the DACA applications must be restarted and the applications must be accepted. These are for first-time applications we're talking about, because the people who were renewing them, that was fine. That was ongoing.
So what's the biggest challenge after this court right now?
Okay, so right now, every single day, it appears that Trump is on his way out of office, is trying to make immigration tougher and tougher for immigrants as a general rule. So when President Biden gets sworn in some 37 or 8 days from now, he is going to have to spend a lot of time to undo many of the cruel policies of the Trump administration towards immigration.
If you were one of the dreamers, what would you do?
Well, look, I would be very happy today, because it looks like a very bad chapter is coming to a close, and a new chapter filled with hope is going to be opening up before us really shortly. Right now, President-elect Biden has promised that he is looking for a pathway for citizenship for the dreamers, that within the first 100 days of coming into office, that then President Biden would send a bill to Congress to try to get legal status or amnesty for the 11 or so million people here in the United States. So not just the dreamers, but he wants to have a very expansive approach towards immigration and legalizing people's status here in the United States.
One of the complaints that I hear from DACA or dreamers is that they're afraid if they register that the parents is also at risk because they don't have a permanent visa or to stay in the United States. So what do you say about that?
Look, I understand the fear, sure. However, up until the current administration, they were never using any data that was from one application to go after other individuals. Under Trump, that was possible, but generally, even under the administration, we didn't see too much of that. I would tell someone who is eligible for DACA to come forward. This is your chance to come forward. This is your chance to become legalized here. And it's not just to prevent for deportation or getting a work permit, but rather this group as a whole may get permanent residency and citizenship one day. So it would behoove your listeners to come forward. I think that they would be making a mistake if they didn't. It's something that they may regret later on in the future.
Your final advice for the dreamers?
For the dreamers is to realize that as of right now, you are still a guest in this country. Obey the laws of the country. Make sure that you use your time here wisely. Do apply for DACA because good things could happen through DACA. Don't let fears of what may happen to those around you prevent you. I honestly don't think that any administration going forward would use the information off of your application to go after parents or loved ones or anything like that. Look, one thing to keep, especially the Indonesian community, 9% or even maybe higher, 99.9% of Indonesians who come to the United States do so legally. They obtain a visa and they come with a visa. It's very different than the Central American countries who can travel by land and in the middle of the night the border and come into the United States. So here, the government, for the Indonesians in particular, the government, through the issuance of the I-94, does know who came into the country, and because the I-94 cards have not been, for those who have overstayed, have not been returned back, they know who's here and who's left. It's very easy to track, but with the numbers in the millions, it's rare that the government would actually come after someone just from a numbers perspective. Of course, if there are crimes committed and the government has a larger interest to go after them. But, for someone to say, hey, I'm not going to file just because I'm afraid for one of my family members, I think that that's a mistake. I think you need to come forward. I think you need to file. It would only benefit you.
Okay. And just like to know, how can you help for the dreamers?
Well, we've been helping the dreamers. We help you with the application process. We help with making sure that everything is properly documented, that the applications are not rejected, that the information that is recorded is accurate, so that you can get your paperwork. We also are here to answer questions that ultimately arrive from the dreamers who, this is a stepping stone. Think of it that way, because many of these dreamers are now a little bit old in age since this program first came out in 2012. They want to get married, the ramifications, and it leads to other job opportunities, and they have questions regarding all that. So we're here to answer those questions. We're here to make sure that the process moves smoothly and they get their status here in the United States.
Excellent. Thank you for your time. Dan untuk pemirsa Kabari, sekian dulu, sampai kita berjumpa lagi. Thank you.
And thank you for having me today. I appreciate that, John.